Hello, good people of YouTube, Mountbatten here. With the upcoming removal of Thunder and what's been called the Make the U.S. Navy Great Again ships, the Massachusetts, the Georgia, and the Alaska, we're going to take a look at 5 other premium ships that have been removed in the past from the game. So these are 5 ships that I did manage to snag before their removal, or got lucky enough and managed to grab them in a Christmas container a couple years ago. Certainly not the ones this year with the way things are going so far. Although, according to Wargaming Today, they're supposed to address that, so keep your ears peeled for that. So anyway, we're just going to go ahead and dive right on in. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about the ship, when it was in the game, and when it got pulled. So anyway, let's go ahead and dive right on in. Coming in at number 5, we have the Tier 9 Premium Japanese battleship, the Musashi. So the Musashi was originally first introduced into the game right before the Missouri got removed. And the Musashi was the next Tier 9 free XP premium battleship that was taking the spot of the Missouri. Back in the day, the Missouri was kind of really unique because it was the only free XP ship in the game. You had to earn 750,000 free XP to get the Missouri, and the same with the Musashi. And that was back before we had there's 4 or 5 of them in game right now as of me recording this. And they only cost 750,000 free XP, which seems pretty low now, considering the Hayate cost 2 million free XP. So yeah, oh how World of Warships was different in 2017 and 2018. So the Musashi, what's her thing? She's a Yami that's been down-tiered to Tier 9. She's essentially what would be the Yami's A-hull, if the Yami had an A-hull. She has way less AA, way less secondaries than the Yami. This is actually the original Yamato hull. This is how she was shipped out when she was first launched. On top of that, she's also slightly less accurate than the Yami herself. She has less Sigma, although the Yami's dispersion is actually most of the times not that great. It does cooperate every now and then. So just, imagine a slightly worse version of that, and that's what you get with the Musashi. However, since she is at Tier 9, she can potentially see Tier 7 matches, and that's kind of her gimmick. And, honestly, when she first came out, I did get her. I was a little bit disappointed, though, because Tier 9 matchmaking, you just get slung up into Tier 10 matches a lot, especially when Musashi came out. So, you were a Yami with way less AA in Tier 10 matches. This is pre-CV rework, by the way, back when CVs were literally the hand of God. You didn't have any AA, and if the CV wanted you dead, you were pretty much dead. Now, today, with the CV rework, I mean, AA is really, even on ships that, like the Montana and the Iowa, that had God tier AA before, their AA is kind of laughable now, so imagine how the Musashi must feel. Now, she does get an improved fighter consumable to kind of compensate her for that, but again, with the way fighters work nowadays, doesn't really do too much either way. So, she, in my mind, was never really worth it. I always thought just grind up to the Yami if you want 18.1 inch guns, because the Musashi does still get those 18.1 inch guns. And yeah, if you do get into a Tier 7 match, you can absolutely laugh at those Tier 7 ships as you just blow them out of the water with your 18.1 inch guns. So there's certainly that. Anyway, she was removed because she was in the store for roughly a little over a year and a half. And she was removed, and then she is now only available in Christmas containers. Moving on down now to number 4, we have the Tier 9 Premium Soviet Supercruiser, the Kronstadt. So the Kronstadt was the very first supercruiser added into the game. By supercruiser, I mean high tier, like Tier 9 and above, cruiser, in quotation marks, that's in a cruiser slot that you have to get for either free XP, coal, or steel. So ships like the Alaska, the Agir, the Siegfried, the Stalingrad, the Azuma, and the Yoshino. This is the very first one. This is where it all began, and boy, have we come away since then. The Kronstadt is very, very interesting to look at nowadays because you see kind of what they were going for, a very tough cruiser, again, quote-unquote, with battleship caliber guns. The Kronstadt was never really that accurate with her guns, though. They were definitely on more of the battleship side in terms of accuracy, where now supercruisers kind of have their own accuracy, where it's much better than a battleship, but not quite the pinpoint precision you can get with cruisers nowadays. so they're kind of in between. Kronstadt was before we really had that. Plus, she has radar, pretty good armor, a huge health pool. She has roughly the same health pool as an Iowa. She's also roughly the same length as an Iowa too. Not quite as girthy though, but yeah, she's quite the old lady now, and she was removed. I think she lasted a little bit longer than Musashi, but she was removed shortly thereafter, if I'm remembering correctly, or they might have been removed together, if memory serves me correct, but that does feel like 6-7 years ago. But yeah, it's really interesting ship to take out and play now, because you really don't see too many Kronstadts anymore, and I'm not sure if it's because it's so rare now, or it's because we have all these other super cruisers that are better than the Kronstadt, and I've ranked them before, and Kronstadt does wind up at the end of the list, not because it's a terrible ship, just because what's come since then is just so much better than the Kronstadt, much more reliable and such. However, her guns do pack one heck of a punch. If you do manage to make those shells land, she can most definitely citadel battleships. I've citadeled Montana at I think 16-15 kilometers of almost max range before with the Kronstadt. So her guns certainly do pack that punch. It's just that they're not all that accurate. Moving on down now to the number 3 spot, we have the Tier 8 Premium Soviet Light Cruiser, the Kuduzov. The Kuduzov, the original HE spam. This ship is really friggin' old. She actually first came out on Christmas Day in 2015 on the European servers, and then in January of 2016 on the North American server. So she's an old girl, and like I said, she's the original HE spam. 12 152mm guns with a Soviet shell velocity and plenty of HE to go around. She also gets her own smoke screen on top of that. So she's the original pop smoke and burnaways, the original Smolensk, if you will. And man, I got this ship in I think 2017 when I began my whaling endeavors to get the Missouri. So this ship is still very much competitive today, although it's not as insane as it used to be since 2015. We've had a huge spike up of HE spammy ships, really, especially in the last year or so. And of course, you just have torpedoes too, although they don't get used too much. They only have a range of 8 kilometers, which, it's still pretty useful, but with the Kuduzov, you kind of just sit in the back, sling HE, sit in your smoke screen, sit on the other side of an island, and just burn away to your heart's content. Now, she does also have Soviet AP as well, so if you ever do get in an oh crap situation where a cruiser gets close enough to you, and you need to switch over to AP, you can absolutely, of course, just annihilate them with her AP. And she's a pretty good ship, although again not as special as she used to be because of the direction that the game's gone recently, but definitely one of the oldest premiums in the game. Alright, let's move on down now to our number 2 spot, which is where we have the Tier 7 British light cruiser, the Belfast. Yes, the original Belfast, not the new Belfast they're trying to push on us, which isn't really that fantastic. Go watch my review for it. It's really just, it's an Edinburgh. Anyway, this Belfast is an Edinburgh, but it's down at Tier 7. And back in the day with Belfast, she was basically the Swiss Army knife. She has, and still to date, she still does have a very high amount of utility. She has radar, hydroacoustic search, and a smoke screen, but she'd have to give up her torpedoes for that. And she was one of the first British cruisers to get HE. For those of you that don't know, well, I'm sure most of you do know, the British light cruiser line doesn't get HE, because back in the day, it was deemed that the British light cruisers had way too high of a fire rate in order for them to get HE. That guy needs to be rehired by Wargaming. Now we get Smolensk, Colbert, Alston now, and that thing's gotten even more insane since we last looked at it. But anyway, original Belfast is a fantastic ship still today. She still does have a high degree of utility, and again, like I just mentioned with the Kuduzov, her HE spamminess isn't as unique and doesn't give her an edge as it used to, because again, that's kind of everywhere now, even at Tier 7. Although her utility at Tier 7 is, of course, not matched by any. Radar is very, very, very much still a somewhat rarity at tier 7. I know the Indianapolis still does have it. I think 1 or 2 other ships get it now at tier 7, but still. Belfast gets hydro and smoke on top of that. So just like Kuduzov, Belfast just used to be popping your smoke screen, chill there, burn to your heart's content. This ship is very much the bane of most destroyers too, because she does have a higher fire rate than Kuduzov, although Kuduzov's fire rate is still pretty high. Belfast can get about 8 shots out per minute. Kuduzov's only about like a 7.4 or 7.5. And she is still a pretty old lady as well. She went on sale in 2016 on the EU servers, and then in November of 2016 on the NA servers. I'm sorry, October in 2016 on the EU servers, and November of 2016 on the North American servers. And she was removed because she was too powerful. Same reason that Kuduzov was removed. They were deemed overpowered and thus removed from the game. And we've gotten, Belfast 2.0 with the new Belfast, the Tier 8 Belfast, Belfast 43. And then we got like Kuduzov, where we skipped 2.0 and went to 3.0 with Kuduzov with the small Lansk now. Alright, moving on down to number 1. We have the Tier 9 Premium American Battleship, the Missouri. The Missouri, the original Trump wagon, the original Tier 9 free XP ship. And boy, the Missouri, she's really starting to show her age, kinda, because her being a premium ship, they're not really supposed to mess with them too much after they get released, and Missouri has missed out on a lot of buffs that the rest of the American battleship line has gotten. She does not have the improved heal of the American battleships. She does have the American damage con too, which is very nice, and she's an old girl now. She is, however, the prettier looking Iowa out of the Iowa and the tech tree in the Iowa and the Missouri. She has much more detail, and it's always confused me as to why they don't update the Iowa's model with the Missouri's model. It'd be very easy to do. But anyway, she is still a fantastic credit earner today. And she does have radar on top of that. I was about to say hyperacoustics search. She has radar on top of that, 9-kilometer radar. Still the only battleship in the game with radar. Although they did try to give the Soviet battleships that weird, like, 15-kilometer radar. They only spotted battleships and aircraft carriers. Thank God that didn't make it into the game. But Missouri still has that going for her. And other than that, she's pretty much an Iowa, besides the lack of improved heal. And she's still, a solid ship today, showing her age a little bit with the missing out on that buff, but still a pretty fun ship to play if you ever do manage to secure one in a Christmas container, which again, with the wonderfulness that is this year's Christmas containers, is looking very, very, very much unlikely for most of the population. Anyway guys, that's just a couple of rare premium ships I wanted to take a look at today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Which one of these would you like to have, or what are some other rare ships that I don't have that you would have included on this list? Anyway guys, hope you're having a wonderful Monday. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. We're on our way now to 25,000 subscribers. We just passed 20,000 not that long ago. I can't thank you guys enough for that. The giveaway that started this time last week, those winners should be receiving a comment from me very shortly. Just make sure you check your comments and check your notifications so you don't miss out on that. Anyway guys, again, thanks for watching. Hope you're having a wonderful Monday. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.